MS-13 isn't the only threat America has brought in from abroad, imported. Terrorism is a largely immigrant phenomenon, not exclusively, but largely, with immigrants and their children committing or attempting dozens of terror attacks in recent years. The question is, what can we do about it, and do we have a right to vet people with that in mind? David Beer is an immigration policy analyst for the CATO Institute, a libertarian organization, and he recently wrote a study arguing that America doesn't need stronger vetting processes for immigrants. Mr. Beer joins us tonight. Thanks a lot for coming on. So the first question, and since you're a libertarian and all libertarians are smart and they thought this through,
Sure.
Let me ask you a philosophical question, which is, doesn't a country have a right to know all it can or cares to learn about the people it admits?
Of course, and libertarians support vetting immigrants and travelers who come to the United States. And look, one of the reasons why I did this analysis, this study of vetting failures, is that President Trump actually required in his first travel ban executive order that the government undertake a study of vetting failures, and it failed to do so. And so in light of that failure, I undertook this study, and it shows that vetting failures are extremely rare. 1 in every 29 million visa or status approvals is for a person who had terrorist inclinations, who goes on to commit a terrorist offense in the United States, including sending small amounts of money overseas to terrorist organizations.
Okay.
And that's 84% lower than the rate before 9/11, and that shows.
Great.
Sure, and that shows that vetting can result in improvements and without bans on nationalities or
sure,
religions.
but we're not really going for improvements, are we? We're going for perfect. I mean, that's kind of our government's duty, is to do all it can to protect us. So the rights of people of other countries who want to move here aren't really germane to that. Our job is not to protect their rights, is to protect the safety and the rights of Americans.
Yeah, of course.
So Omar Mateen, for example, I don't think he was the Pulse nightclub guy.
No, he was not a vetting failure. He was born in the United States.
Right, but he was born to Afghan immigrants who were Taliban sympathizers.
Okay.
So that was a result of an immigration failure. So you let people in with radical sympathies, and as a result of that, you get a nightclub shooting. I don't really see another. I mean, he wasn't actually a product of American culture. He was a radical Muslim.
He was not a product of a failed vetting system. He was born in the United States. He was raised here. That is a problem of assimilation with his parents. But you have to look at the study that I conducted also looked at all types of threats from U.S.-born people as well as people who are born abroad.
There are a lot of threatening Americans.
And they are very, very low on the risk of
but the overwhelming majority
more than 200,000 Americans have been killed in regular homicides.
I'm fully aware. Look,
over the last 15 years.
But this is a specious argument. You're saying that because there are a lot of dangerous Americans, and there definitely are, that we shouldn't be concerned about dangerous immigrants because they're look. How about this? Anybody who wins the privilege to come here and take American benefits, which are very generous, as you know, should be not only a non-threat, should be a demonstrable net asset to the country. And yet we think it's somehow immoral to demand that.
No, the argument here is whether or not the vetting system as it currently exists is good at excluding people who have violent
But wait a second, you can make gross
not.
distinctions here. So if you just said, look at Great Britain, look at France, look at Sweden, they have massive terror, crime, and disorder problems and cultural assimilation problems for one reason. They imported a bunch of people from a part of the world that doesn't share their values. Why wouldn't you look at you wouldn't want to live in Sweden now as a result. You wouldn't want to live in London as a result. So why shouldn't we look at that and say, I don't care, we're not going along with that because we know how it winds up?
Well, you know, if you look at the conviction rate for all crimes committed by people who are targeted by the president's executive order, they're far less likely to commit crimes of all types than native-born Americans.
You know, I don't actually think that number. I think unfortunately, we don't have time to sort of unpack that. Let me just say for the record, I disagree with that. I think you're using a bad number there.
Fine.
But any crimes is too many. And again, people from certain regions are far more likely, we both agree, to commit certain types of crimes motivated by Islamic extremism. Right.
And it's very, very uncommon. 1 in 328 million.
So we should worry about it? Is that what you're saying?
No. My argument is that we should worry about it. We should have vetting systems, but they should be targeted to specific identified deficiencies in the system. We should target areas of improvement with evidence, not through intuition.
Well, here's the evidence. here's the evidence, actually. We have Western societies, I just named 3 of them in Europe, that have been destroyed by this. So what's your conclusion?
France is not a non-society
how about
anymore.
Sweden, which had like a negligible crime rate? Now it has grenade attacks to the point it's one of the most dangerous countries in Europe. Do you see any connection between that and their immigration policy?
So the United States does have a better system of assimilation than other European, other developed countries.
Is there any lesson from that? Oh, so we're more efficient than the Swedes? Is that what you're saying? Because I don't believe you.
We are far better at assimilating immigrants in the United States, so including Muslim immigrants who have assimilated quite rapidly into American society.
So there's no obvious lesson from Sweden that you see at all.
The United States has a completely different immigration system, different assimilation system, and the evidence in the United States right now shows that they are less likely to commit crimes.
Levels. Look, I hope you. Look, I want you to be right. I want you to be right. We're unfortunately out of time.
Sure.
I'm rooting for your vision, which I think is wrong, but I'm hoping you're right. I really am. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.